Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
We're now watching the Half Your Deen Show with Samir Abdullah
And Imam Naeem Abdullah.
We're on Half Your Deen Show.
Assalamu alaikum. We are
now watching the Half Your Deen Show on Northern Radio.
We're on
Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
We're now watching the Half Your Deen Show with Samir Abdullah
And Imam Naeem Abdullah.
We're on Half Your Deen Show.
Assalamu alaikum. We are
now watching the Half Your Deen Show on Northern Radio.
We're on
Bismillah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه والسلام تسليما الحمد لله وكفى والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى Amma ba'd. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected shaitan. May Allah bless our master, Sayyidina Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, companions, and give them peace. All praise is due to Allah, for he is sufficient for us. Peace be upon his slaves, whom he has chosen. as to what follows. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone. You're now watching the Half Your Dean Show with myself, Samira Abdullah, and my co-host will be joining us shortly. What you say? I don't know. I just heard him say something. Let's see who's in the building. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, brother CD and wife. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, sister Miriam. Good to see you. Wa alaikum assalam to barakatuh. Yeah, I am speaking. Can you hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Hold on. Okay, you can hear me? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for Lisa. Thank you for letting me know. Because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not muted. It might be something going on your side, Miriam. Okay, you can hear me too, Zachariah. Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh. Yeah, Miriam, you're probably gonna have to come back out and then go back in because I am unmuted. I know I'm known to not have things muted, but I made sure I was unmuted this time. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh to everyone. Please like, share this broadcast. To get the latest notifications, you would need to subscribe to our Nur Zaman channel on YouTube because Facebook has a delay on that. What's up? What's up? He just came over here to bother me. SubhanAllah. Yes, like I was saying, I already know what that is. He just came in here and disrupted. If you like to get the latest notifications, you would need to subscribe to our Nerdsman channel on YouTube because Facebook delays it. Oh wow. Okay, inshallah, Miriam. Yes. That happens to me too. Maybe this technology. SubhanAllah. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, Sister Jackie. As I stated, share this broadcast and subscribe to our Nerdsman channel on YouTube so that you can get a notification because Facebook is not reliable. It'll wait a few minutes after the show commences to notify, if it notifies. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, brother Abdul Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, brother Anthony. I'm excited about this show tonight. As I stated, my co-host, he will be joining us shortly. He's going to come over here and peek his head, but he's not peeking in the room here with us. Alhamdulillah. We have an interesting show for tonight. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, Nadam. Alhamdulillah. We thought it would be a good topic, as you see here, Dear Mama. I'm not sure if you're familiar. There's a documentary on the life of Tupac that is playing now. I think it has 5 parts to it. And it's funny because some of y'all probably don't even know Tupac. Y'all probably was babies when Tupac came out. How many of y'all know who Tupac is? Let me ask that. Because I've seen people say that their parents used to make them listen to Tupac as though Tupac was like it was like old music. But then I realized the person was young. They said there was a little kid when Tupac came out. So they were babies. So who know who Tupac is? listening audience. And don't be shy. And don't act like you don't haven't listened to his stuff. Even if you don't listen to it now, I'm sure you have had your dose or have been familiarized with Tupac Shakur. White people like to call him Tupac. They be like Tupac. It's Tupac. Alhamdulillah, Jackie. Thank you for being honest. Thank you. What's so significant about this documentary is is that his enemies are telling his story. That's right. People that he was not cool with is telling his story. That is something that we need to take a lesson from. You have to tell your own story because your enemies is going to tell your story the way they want to tell it. Although they're telling his story, it's still beneficial. So truth can come from your enemies. Like truth can't come from the shaitan. Because shaitan, although he's our open enemy, he has benefit us by teaching us the dua to say, right? Ayatul Kursi, right? Teaching us how to, when to recite that, right? That came from him. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh, Sister Patricia, Sister Rukaya. Wa alaikum salam to barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam to barakatuh, Brother Isa. Alhamdulillah. Let me see here. Isa said he was an all-time favorite rapper. And Anthony said, I got all the way when Pac was a background dancer for Digital Underground. Mashallah. I go all the way back when Pac, yes. Oh, wow. Okay. See? Now, it's interesting that this story that's being told about him, like I'm learning more from this documentary than any other documentary that has been, broadcasted. I say that because the other ones, they like gloss over a lot of stuff in his life. But this one here is giving you the nitty gritty. That's what I feel like. It's giving you that backstory. And I still think because it's, done by his enemies, they're holding back. I'm trying to get this together. Mashallah. I think they're holding back. But with this one, you see more details of his life, the people in his life, more crystal clear. For instance, his father, right? And that was an interesting part because if you know about Tupac, he didn't know, he thought this other cat was his father. He didn't know that his actual father was still alive. His mother lied to him and said that his father was dead. How many know women that tell their children, that tell lies to their children to so-called protect them or what have you? And this child growing up thinking they don't have a father. This man looked just like Tupac. Just like Tupac. He's like 70, I forgot, he's 70 something. Looked good for his age. And his mom, Afeni, and I'm not trying to disparage her or anything like that. She had her reasons. Whatever reason that was, she did it. Okay, it's done. She told Tupac that his father was dead and this other man was his, she said he was dead, and this other man, I forgot who was his, Batulu Shakur was his stepdad. So that's who, was in his life, was well as other men were in his life, but his dad, and his dad was alive and well. So Tupac didn't know his father existed until he was shot. When he got shot up, and no, he got shot at the Quad Studio. That's what it was. He got shot up where he got set up at the Quad Studio in the lobby. And when he went to the hospital,
here I is
about time
interrupting your stuff. Yeah.
So that's when he went to the hospital, and he
That's
told
right.
them,
Beat up the story. Go ahead. Beat it up. Go
you know what? I'm out.
ahead. No, go ahead.
He told them at the hospital that he was his dad. And they was like, you couldn't be his dad. And you can help me with this part, but Fanny said, yeah, that's his dad. Yeah, that's his dad. Then
Yeah, when Tupac got shot in New York, like you said, but when he was trying to enter the building to go to Quad Studio, and he was in the hospital for that night, his pops heard about it, his biological pops, that Tupac didn't know existed at the time, came up to Bellevue Hospital to see him. And the security or whoever he spoke to asked, like relationship to patient, father. Obviously this is Tupac. He's famous Tupac now, right? This is after the movie Juice. This is, doing when they was filming Above the Rim. So Tupac is known at this time. And, his songs is out there. He was like, Tupac, he ain't his father, right? His father died. He said it in a song. That's when Afeni said, no, let him in. That's his father.
So from that point on, his father was in his life, right? He was in his life up until the time that he got shot up in California. He was there, and he thought he was going to pull through, And in the documentary, he was not in the documentary. He had did an interview, and he was saying how he himself, got through cancer, right? But my son is here laying up in the hospital where, I think he said he had a 1.5 lungs. And, Tupac had one of his lungs, taken away, right? Or didn't function anymore. And he just knew that if I can pull through it, I pulled through, he's going to pull through. But, Allah had other plans, and he, called him back. But I only mentioned this story because this was a mother, not just any mother. This is another thing that I learned. She was a Black Panther. She was like a high ranking.
You didn't know that she was a Black Panther before all this?
I knew she was, but I didn't know she was a high ranking Black Panther. She wasn't just like a, just part of in the rank. She was a high ranking Black Panther.
Hey, can someone tag Akil Fahad in this conversation? The reason why, because I need him, because I'm going to ask him some things. I wanted to ask him yesterday on the phone, but we both got busy. But if he can answer in this conversation, it'll be extremely important. It'll be extremely good. But I knew that she wasn't just some low-level Panther, because I knew for the longest that she represented herself and them. At the trial, she was part of the famous Panther 21 trial.
Mm-hmm.
And Abdullah, that's kind of what I want to ask Akil Fahad, because see, in the Panthers in that community, all those people with the name Shakur weren't necessarily related by blood, but they were trying to like create their own so-called tribe. This is what I learned from that documentary that I want to ask Akil about. See, in the Panthers, they mentioned a man by the name of Lumumba Shakur, who was like
Right.
very charismatic, and everybody followed him and everything like that. And because of him, everybody started taking the name Shakur.
Right.
Afeni, Tupac's mom, Asada, the famous Asada Shakur, and many other
Right.
people, right? But what they
Right.
also mentioned that I didn't know, and they showed a picture that I've seen before, but didn't know who the person was. They said Lumumba Shakur's dad was Saladin Shakur, who was a big imam in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hold up, Saladin Shakur, imam, Philly. Whoa, I gotta ask Akil about this.
The
And as
historian.
soon as I'm thinking that thought, Akil calls me and talk about some other stuff, right? But then we had to get off the phone, right? Because I had a class and all that stuff, and he had to do some things or whatever. But I ain't never get a chance to ask him my question.
Mashallah.
So
Right.
I wanted to know this Saladin. You know, we say Salahuddin, but they said Saladin Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
I want to
Right.
know, who is this person? Like, what big community in Philly, right? Because you talk about the 70s,
Right. SubhanAllah.
early. So that's what I wanted to know. So Abdullah, they weren't necessarily kin, but they was making like their own tribe, the Shakur tribe. And
Alhamdulillah.
Tupac wasn't born in jail, but she was pregnant with him while he was in jail, Nada. But she got out before she gave birth.
Mashallah. SubhanAllah. So if you hadn't seen the documentary, I would suggest you watch it because it has interesting, information. It shows you what what type of people he came from, his background. Like a lot of us, we don't really connect that with our, present selves. We don't connect it back to who we belong to. And you wonder why, you act a certain way, or wonder why your children act a certain way, because it's connected to who you belong to, right? So it's just interesting for us to have an insight of his life and what type of person he is. Now, Tupac, subhanallah, I'm not gonna mention the name, but they said Tupac wasn't that thuggy thug that we be seeing. Like that was an act. Like he know how to go into character. Because remember, he went to art school, not art
He
school,
went to
but
the that's what he went to.
you know what?
He went to the how you spell it? How you spell it?
You know what? I'm gonna get on you bad. Oh, I'm gonna get on you bad. Oh, you better not have a supererogatory moment. I'm gonna get on you bad.
You're supposed to be a good Muslim. You're supposed to not return evil for evil, right? So you're supposed to let me get away with that.
I ain't no evil. What's good for the goose is good for the gift.
I'm not a goose nor a gander.
SubhanAllah. Yes, he was educated. He went to the school of what's the school name? You try to supposed to help
I
me.
don't know the name of the school in Maryland with the acting school.
Right, the acting school.
In Baltimore.
Right.
Where he's with Jada Pinkett and all that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Performing arts or something. I don't know.
Performing arts. That's what I was trying to say. Performing arts. And if you look at the interviews that he did back then and his mannerism and stuff at 17 says a lot. And then you look at him, years later, you see that transformation, but he still was that kid at heart.
But I think all of us, especially growing up in those type of environments, go through some transformation. There's a point where, depending on how much you were sheltered in your house, right, you have some level of innocence, right? I think people like people acting like Tupac, supposed to come out the womb, acting tough. No, nobody comes out like that, right? Just to give the other side of what you're saying, I remember, I ain't gonna tell the whole story, but in elementary school, right? I went to school with some people in a whole different school district. My parents bust me out, so the school we went to was predominantly white. And so fast forward to I'm in high school, I me and my peoples went up to another high school, to do bad things, right? And so I seen this cat that I went to elementary school with. We ain't like seen each other since then. I think junior high school. I think last time we saw each other. And he saw me. He was like, "Oh, there go this N-word." So, oh, right. And then I said, "What?" And then it's like in a split second, he recognized this ain't the same person I know from elementary, junior high school. And he apologized. It wasn't a whole lot of rap. He just seen the body language, the energy. He was like, "Oh, I apologize." And so I'm saying the streets turn you out sometimes, right? And so people looking at those interviews that Tupac did when he was acting and stuff like that, then they fast forward to Death Row, and it's all like, oh, he fronting. He did know how to come in and go out of character. Dudes do that all the time and don't be in acting school, right?
I think another layer to it with Tupac, with his mother, is that she was on drugs, right? And they moved a lot. That had a significant impact on him. And, when we were talking, I said, I wanted to know more about that. Like, what did he have to go through? Because when children have parents that are strung out on drugs, they go through a lot. Like sometimes the mother be selling herself, have a whole bunch of men in and out the house. You know what I mean? The kids get exposed to being sexually abused. Like, what was it? What did it look
And
like for him?
and that's another thing with that story. Just even if we ignore whatever information we may or may not have from other sources, if you just look at that uh, doc, Dear Mama documentary, we know about 4 people already that she was with around the same time period that when she was conceiving Tupac. Lumumba, Mutulu, Shakur.
Mhm.
That's the Shakur we forgot to mention. I keep forgetting. Is he home yet? He was supposed to come home, but they kept pushing it back and pushing it back.
Yeah,
Mutulu Shakur.
yeah.
Okay, so she was with Lumumba, Mutulu, Legs, the one who Pac thought was his father,
Mm-hmm.
the cat that was in the street down with Nicky Barnes in him, that they said, and his biological father, Billy Garland. That's 4 people that we know about.
Right. So yeah, it's a whole lot that could be said about his situation. And like I said, his mother made decisions that affected him both positively and negatively. um so with this broadcast, I wanted to reflect on, you know black mothers, in particular. I'm being a black mother, and most of you that are in our listening audience are black mothers, or you are a child of a black mother. I think this story or this reflection need to be had because our family, the dynamics of our family, it's like it has eroded, right? You have all these forces that you have to deal with just to try to, hold down your post. And it's not easy. But before I get into that, I wanted to mention something else real quick. Matula's out of prison. Yeah. I forgot he had something. I think he had cancer or something, some kind of sickness. They let him out. Um, Wa alaikum salam to Barakatuh, Sister Sophia. And Abdullah, I think I've seen. I did want to mention there's another story that's in the news. I'm sure y'all heard about it, about the ex NFL star that was on trial, and he had been acquitted of the charges that was made against him by this by this chick. She just thought she was doing something, and it backfired on her. I didn't want to focus on the trial. I wanted to focus on what the situation was, what it looked like. If you are familiar with this trial, it was a woman. She was involved with a man, a married woman at that, was involved with this ex NFL player. You know, they was playing house, and he basically told her that he don't want her no more. And so she ain't like that. And so with that, she started cutting up, started tearing up his property and his house. And he said he didn't claim her as a girlfriend. Like, she didn't have any, position, but she was married, right? She wouldn't have a position. She's a married woman. And she's begging this man to be with her. He was about to go play in Canada somewhere, like, because he had got injured while he was playing with the NFL. I think he torn an ACL, his ACL, and he had to get out. So he get with this young chick, and she just made his life a living hell. But what I wanted to
hold on, Samira. Can you hold your thought?
Yes.
Because we got Professor Akil Fahad in the house, and we know his time was precious, right? So yes. let's rewind a little bit, right? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I asked you to come because I want to ask you the question I wanted to ask you on the phone, but it's relevant for our conversation tonight. So I don't know if you have the answer. A lot of people are watching the Dear Mama Tupac Afeni Shakur documentary on Hulu. Now, in there, I think it's episode 2, I think, or maybe 3, they mentioned it, where he was talking about how they was talking about Lumumba Shakur and how he was an active and charismatic person, and he has so much influence over people that they started, even taking on the name. Afeni took on the name, and she was with him as well. Mutulu took on the name, right? So that's why you got all these Shakurs. And I was explaining how they were almost like making like a Shakur tribe or family. But it also mentioned in there that Lumumba Shakur's father is who they call Saladin Shakur, who was a big imam in Philly. And my question to you is, or was, are you familiar with him and his story? And what community was he the imam of? That was my question. Okay, go back to your story, Samir. We'll wait to see what Akil Fahad says.
Wa alaikum salam to Barakatuh, Tosha. So that story broke, but all the emphasis was on what she did and how she did it, how she had a stank attitude, how she got her brother and their friends to go to his house. Now, if you remember, there was another story that we had covered during one of our broadcasts. Yes, I posted him on my page, he said. You muted.
Oh, I said, oh, yes, please tag me. Maybe I missed that
one. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, you said it right the first time. What I said right the first time? What I said? Oh, I said it right the first time. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Wa alaikum salam to Barakatuh. Rakaya. Well, she said she went and got a BBL to be more attractive, right? So he can choose her. He told her the other woman still looks better than her, even though she got a BBL and she got 30.
So a married woman goes to get surgery so she could be attracted to this other one. And the other one said, nah, I'm good.
Mashallah. Thank you, sis, for clarifying that for me. Yes, Rakaya. She got the fact. I didn't want to go into it, but she put it in a concise way. This married woman, nobody is talking about the fact that this woman is married. Like, there is no moral compass anymore. Like, yes, somebody died, right? From her decision to send her brother and no, you good. You good. I just didn't want to I'm talking about from my side. I didn't want the whole show be about this. But she sent her brother and 3 friends to her boyfriend's house. A married woman sent her brother to her boyfriend. Well, that wasn't even his boyfriend, because he said he didn't claim her. Like, they wasn't together like that. So you know what was happening. So she get a BBL. And if you've seen her, I thought BBLs make you, like, you do certain things. I don't know. I didn't see her body, but I thought it was supposed to enhance you in some way or whatever. But she went and got this done. He went to move on, and she saw on his phone, because this is what happens. She saw his phone. She saw messages about this other woman, and she got the nerve to be mad. Now let me ask y'all, isn't this the point that she was married? I'm just saying, from an Islamic point of view, the woman is married. You have no entitlement to anybody outside your husband, right? He doesn't owe you anything. And you sitting here going ballistic about some dude that you ain't got no business having any kind of relationship with. And you get mad, and you're doubting behind using technology, going to text your brother in the group, like, go and shoot up his stuff, right? She's texting this. And then when she get on the stand, she's like, well, that's not what I mean. I didn't mean, for them to do anything or kill them or anything like that. And then gonna get smart with the person that was cross-examining her. And this woman is married. Like
there was people that followed the trial and was following the whole trial. I ain't followed the whole trial, but just from the clips that I saw, the handful of clips that I saw from her testimony, I'm quite sure that she won the case for dude, right? Just her testimony alone, just like
listen. So okay, the woman that set him up to get done in by her brother and his friends was testifying on behalf of the prosecution, right? She was a terrible witness. Terrible, right? But not only that, she admitted what she did as though it was nothing wrong and had no remorse that somebody's life got done in. Like I said, we covered a story where this woman was messing with this dude, and she sent her brothers over there to the house to call themselves, checking him, and homeboy lit them up. They got killed. I think at least one got killed in his yard.
In fact, when I heard about this story, I thought it was the same story.
Right.
Because it's so similar.
Right. She went and sick these dudes, brothers, do not do this dirty work for these chicks. If some chick wants you to do some dirty work for her, and hey, I need you to look, you need to ask him questions. Like, what's going on? What's your relationship? Why you feel the need that you need to send somebody over there? Because she tried to act like he had, assaulted her and all that stuff. So yes, she sent them over there, and homeboy had an AK-15 or something like that. It wasn't like no handgun. He had him What?
Say AK-15.
AK-47. What?
An AK-22. and they are 65.
I'm not into the weapons. I don't know my weapons, so please forgive my ignorance. He let off, I think, 39 shots. It hit a couple of them. One died in a car, like he escaped and died in the car, and then another one was shot or what have you. So one of them died, right? That's a new one. AK-15, AR-47. I don't know my guns, okay? So, so he's protecting himself. He had to defend himself because they come into his bait, right? To his house looking for trouble. And then her brother was on trial being questioned and asked him, did you know that she was doing this and that? Like she's over there, was harassing him and doing this to him and doing all that. He was like, no. So his dumb behind went over there and could have had his life snuffed out. Right? And because he didn't, it's like he was just on, remote control. And this woman just said, okay, do this for me. And that's it. You're not going to question it. And your life is taken. How many Black men's lives have been taken because a woman made an accusation which was really her fault that she initiated? Don't be running to the fire.
A whole bunch of people.
That's the point. Don't be rushing into the fire and thinking, well, I'm doing something not even manly, just doing something foolish because you didn't ask questions. And so here it is.
But see, you got to understand, these types of women will make you feel like you a sucker if you try to investigate. Like, well, you ain't gonna ride for me? What? Oh, you gonna let them do that to me? They ain't gonna let you get the facts. They want you to act off impulses, right?
Gaslighting you. Do not fall for the okie doke. This chick, they have so many names for this chick, but she was on the stand getting smart while being cross-examining, and the judge was like, let them ask the questions. She over there like telling who the defense, like asking them questions like she was a lawyer and stuff like that. And it was very comical if you look at it. But at the end, what was really like a slap in the face is that, okay, the brother got acquitted on all charges because he was charged with first-degree murder, right? First degree. I looked that up. In order for something to be first degree, meaning you had to it must be premeditated and you had intent to kill, right? That wasn't his situation. He was home minding his business. Some dudes roll up at the door. You're like, wait a minute, my life is in danger. That's not premeditated. Premeditated means you had planned it out. I'm gonna do it like this, that, and the other. I'm gonna get him when it's on site. Like that's premeditated. It was none of that. So he shouldn't have been charged with that in the first place. What kind of justice system is this, right? And then they had the other, I think it was first degree. I don't know if it was first degree just for that one, the person that got murdered, but that charge shouldn't have been on his plate. So they did him dirty already, right? But he got off. Why she's not charged? For setting the whole thing up. Why the dudes that came to his house not charged? Who came there they intended to do some harm, whether to him or to his property. They are let off. There is no consequences for that. Nothing. You understand? Like, this is dangerous. A lot of women go back to the same man they want to be checked if it don't go too far. That's
the
true.
The part that stands out for me is that not just this case, but all this case is not like no rare case. This stuff happening probably every day, right? But the thing that always stands out for me in this cases is that these type of women, they send their loved ones. In this case, their brother. In the last case, her brother as well, right? Brother on a dummy mission. The brother gets killed. There's like, so so what? Like, you know, like you don't even care, right? Like she should be utterly distraught that she did something that caused her
Right.
blood brother's death, right? But nah, they don't even care. They like, you know, like, so what? They heartless, cold, calculating, right? And whatever, right?
SubhanAllah. Rakaya said the mom tried to stop the boy. She told them she'll show them the cameras of what went down in the house. That wasn't enough. They went there anyway. They thought they was doing something heroic. I'm looking out for her. I'm going to make sure that she, that we make sure that he learns his lesson, and whatever happens, happens. And here it is. Somebody lost their life, unnecessarily.
These people are dangerous. About 15 years ago, right? I say approximately 15 years ago. Remember them young guys came in Philly and shot up the bus?
Yep.
The reason why they shot up the bus is because a girl was on the bus, and the girl had a baby with her, and somebody tried to, admonish her about how she was treating or neglecting. I forget the particulars about how she was treating the baby. And the way they reported it, it wasn't like he like screamed on her or something like that. Like, hey, don't you think you ought to, respectfully.
Right.
Nah, I don't care how you don't tell me nothing. All right, we see what it is. I'm on the bus, such and such. You need to get up here, right? And when they got up there, they shot up the whole bus
with the people on it.
Alhamdulillah, they didn't hit nothing, right? I mean, I guess there is a benefit of being the N-word, right? Like you can shoot a whole bunch of stuff and don't hit nothing, right? That is a benefit, right? Right. So just think about it. You could be on that bus minding your business, right? You wasn't the dude that said nothing to her. You ain't had no relation. You just on the bus because you too close to that chick right there,
right?
Who's used to sending cats on dummy missions to throw their life away for some nonsense.
Yep.
You can lose your life.
And it won't shed a tear either if it happens. Nope. If it go down, just like this woman, she didn't shed a tear. She was busy trying to be smart and try to act like she's the smartest person in the room, when actuality she was the dumbest person in the room. Like, because you are helping him, the one that you're trying to put behind bars, the way that you were testifying helped him out, and I'm sure that would attributed to him being acquitted. But you being so smart, you just doing some ignorant stuff, right?
But I didn't. You tell people it's real stupid too. You go delete the text message, like they ain't gonna find out.
Oh yeah, she deleted.
You gonna try to delete your. You gonna try to delete your text from a group text message, and they arrested one of the people that you texted the group, and like you deleted yours, so you think they gonna see it.
Yeah, I hope he does press charges against her, and I hope that he learned his lesson. Stop messing with these married women. I want to know if he knew she was married, right? There's so many questions, about this situation, because a lot of this can be avoided, right?
I want to ask you a question. What's the connection in your mind? Why you bring up these two stories, this dear mama and this situation? What's the connection between them
two? He didn't know, Rakaya?
Yeah, he didn't know.
Oh, wow. That's even worse. Her husband needed to divorce her like yesterday. The reason why I brought up these two situations is because there's levels to this regarding our situation as far as, the family makeup, right? This is two women. I don't know if she's a mother or not. I hope not with that attitude, right? You have women that was a lot of control, right? Like with Asada. Yes, she had those men in her family, but it was ultimately her decision to go the way she did, right?
Not Asada, Afeni.
I mean, a feigning, excuse me, a feigning, right? It was ultimately her decision to, be part of the Black Panthers, you understand, to be with these different men, right? And she had other children, right? No stability. If you look at it, was no stability, right? And so that stuff has an effect on those that's under her, like her children. If you remember in the interview with his father, the father is upset to this day because when
because he
Tupac
got the
was
label, the deadbeat dad. He got what everybody know about him is half of the story. They say,
right,
oh, he was never there. Tupac gets murdered, and then Afeni's in court for his the money and fighting, I think, against death row, whatever the case was, and then he pops up, and so people look at, oh, now he just popped up because there's some money involved. People they don't know the other stuff.
right. And so, she had made a lot of decisions and didn't include him, right? Tupac might have had a different path if his father was in his life. You understand what I'm saying? Like full time.
Including getting taken off life support.
Right. And
She
that's what
made
I
that
want to
decision without him.
that's what I want to mention, that his father is hurt by that. She told the doctors, do not don't prolong his life. So I think she thought that, he's not going to get better, right? So y'all just might as well just take him off. And she didn't consult him. Knowing that's his dad,
And he was in Vegas at the time. He was visiting the hospital and everything.
Right. So he was around, but she did not feel the need to say, what you think, this is your son. I'm sorry that, I lied to him and, things, the way things turned out. But, what do you think? She didn't even do that. So he's thinking that he could have lived longer. We don't know. He probably still would have died, but you didn't even give him the chance to have any say. And so these type of things, as Black mothers,
I want to sit on this for a minute. I want to sit on this right where we at right now, what we talking about for a minute, because there's a lot of stuff here. Like, I know, far as me and, first of all, Tupac's biological dad, I knew about it for like a year, because the one that's interviewing him now, what's the name of the channel again? Somebody mentioned it earlier in the comments. The one that's interviewing him right now is not the normal dude who does the interviews on that channel.
Right.
Dude that's actually asking him the questions has his own channel.
Right.
And he mentioned this about a year ago because he knew Tupac. And that's the whole, really the foundation of his channel. He be talking about, basically his whole channel is dedicated to clearing up misconceptions all connected to Tupac, right? And so through his channel, I knew about it for about a year.
Yeah.
He mentioned the dude, his father by name and everything like that. But this is extremely important Islamically, because some people, we still brainwashed, and we think, oh, we Muslim, this ain't got nothing to do with us, right? No, it got everything to do with us. Number one, because we Black, even though most of us deny being Black. We think being Muslim is an escape from being Black. And if we acknowledge being Black, then we got the problem with the terminology. So we want to call ourselves something else, right? We got all types of psychosis around us, right? But anyway, right? What we have to realize, that whatever infects and affects our people, affects and effects our people, affects us. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, it affects us. And this is the same with any other group of people, right? The Muslims are among them, get the same effects and effects and infections that the rest of their people, right? So in our community, the Black community, and once again, the Muslims who are Black are part of that community, even if they think that Islam is their escape hatch away from it, right?
Right.
What's been going on in our community for a long time is children are deprived of knowing who their fathers are. There are many people who don't know who their fathers are. And this goes back even way before our generation, our grandparents' generation, even maybe before that. Maybe there was two families that wasn't cool with each other, and then two people in that family got together and had a child, and for whatever reason, you know, one side of the family said, stay away from there. You know, I don't know who your daddy is. Right? Even myself, about 15 years ago, I found out I had another brother. And he told me his story. His mom's family said, you can't go nowhere near your father's family. There's so many people that growing up like that, where the mother or the mother's family, for whatever reason, breaks that family tie, disconnects them from their father. That's a crime. In Islam, that's a crime. That's a human right that nobody should be deprived of. In Islam, you call it hifdun nasab, the preservation of lineage. Every human being has a right to know their lineage on both sides of their family.
Yeah.
And when anybody lies or the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam spoke about that, about the sin of attributing a child to other than its father.
And when does that happen? When does that happen?
When does what happen?
Attributing a child to a man that's not his father. When does that usually happen?
Or when does it usually happen?
Yes.
When you sleeping with somebody you're not supposed to be sleeping with.
Not only that.
It happened with Tupac. She said Tupac is Leg's child.
Right. Yep, that's true. Now I'm talking about Islamically. The deen that we call ourselves practicing, right?
Right.
Allah tells the woman to wait when it's time to separate, when y'all divorce. He tells y'all to wait. How long? 3 periods. That's either, according to the scholars, it's 3 menstrual or those 3 clean periods, right? Once the divorce had been finalized, that is to see if you are pregnant. How many sisters do this 30-day iddah and be pregnant and attribute it to the new husband? They're already jumping into this next situation and didn't wait that period that they're supposed to.
See, and that's an extremely important point that you brought up. The reason why it's important, because when you don't purify yourself from the days of ignorance, from the jahiliyyah, what we call it in Arabic, right? But you Muslim, you find a way to make Islam bend to your jahiliyyah. So you find a hadith, right, that will make you think that the waiting period for a woman who has been divorced or had a marriage annulled by a khula, right, by when she paid a ransom, say, oh, it's 1 month. That happens when you put the cart before the horse. Why? Because we've already been brainwashed into believing that we don't need to follow a method, right?
Yep.
So we think we can get our fiqh, the way we practice Islam, from the hadith, when it's the other way around. You're supposed to follow the fiqh. The hadith is a proof and support for the fiqh. It's the source of the fiqh. Not that everybody on their own just pick up a hadith book and practice what they think it means. Because even that hadith that says the 1 month, like for example, the riwayah, the narration that's in Abu Dawood, Abu Dawood himself says, after relating the hadith, that we don't act on it. Can't make this stuff up, man. The hadith they're using to justify having a one men's iddah, in one of the hadith books that narrate the hadith, the scholar who collected the hadith says we don't act on the hadith. That is considered a special situation for a special time. Not just everybody use it. But when you fast and you want to provide Islamic cover for your jahiliyyah, to this girlfriend boyfriend stuff that we had going on outside of Islam, but you want to remove the guilt from yourself by doing it as a Muslim, you find, we got a hadith right here, right? She got a kula. What's a kula? A divorce. You don't even know what a kula is. You know what I mean? People I spoke to, and I asked them, what's the difference between a talaq and a kula? They don't even know what I'm talking about.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You see, you took me down this side path. I wanted to emphasize the point how there's so many different ways, and has become an epidemic in our community where children don't know who their parents are. And this is contributing to one of the signs of the last days.
Mm-hmm.
One of the signs of the last days is that children will be born with intense rage, anger. And we're seeing it right now. Children are being born with rage. Many scholars suspect that this rage is coming from being deprived of the innate right to know who your parents are and who your lineages are. See, when we was on a slave plantation, right, we didn't have no control over that. But now we have control over it, and we're doing what the slave masters done to us. Breaking off our own lineages. In spite of all the technology around us, Ancestry.com and all that stuff, you still got children being born in 2023 who are not going to know who their parents are. And the fault is on their parents. Like Abdullah said, Aulad al-Zina, the children of Zina. That produces an internal innate rage in the child. It's not something the child thinks about and logically puts together. He's just born mad. Because I'm a child of Zina, and I didn't have a choice in the matter. My parents made this choice to conceive me outside of wedlock. It's not something that's in their mind they have to think about or they read in the textbook. It's just something that was in their DNA, and it's your fault.
SubhanAllah. How many this can take us down a rabbit hole. How many children that was born out of zina where the parents was in school, right? Parents, push our children, and this is nothing against education. Don't take it that way. We push education. You got to get your degree. So you can be, set for life. And, you ain't got to worry about, somebody, pulling the wool over your eyes and you find yourself in a situation, right? These kids going to these schools, they don't teach them about religion, doesn't support it or anything like that. What they do is make them question it when they come in there, right? But not only that, how many parties and all types of, sexual deviancies happen in these schools, right? And the woman gets pregnant, right? The daughter gets pregnant. What happens? What decision do she decide? I need to finish school, so I'm going to give up this child. I'm going to give this child up for adoption. And that child have to live with that. And then there's something that, they start questioning, like, I don't look like my parents, right? Something's different. Something's off. And then that parent that adopted them have the burden of keeping this away from them until a certain age. And they're like, you know what, we got to tell this child that we're not really their parents, right? And then once that revelation is revealed, now that child is on a quest of looking for their parents, right? And think about the, you know, the shame and, you know, the curiosity and all these emotions. Like, why did they do that to me? I didn't ask to be here, but their education was more important than to keep that baby. So this is not a light matter. Zina is something that Allah does not say in Quran, don't commit fornication and adultery. He doesn't say that. He said, don't go near it. Don't go near it. You know, protect your private parts, right? But because we live in an age of technology, so much stuff is bombarded. Sex bombards everybody, adult and children. It bombards everything. They find to have some sexual, you know, innuendos in everything. They find anything to put that stuff in there. So you have these things, you know, basically forced down your throat. And how do you control yourself? Right? You got to have a lot of self-discipline. You gotta be strong, you know, in the face of these, you know, this stuff. You just gotta you gotta have special type of you know, you gotta have people around you that's going to help you to be strong. You got to watch out who your you know, the people, the company that you keep, even family members, because there's so much that is coming at you. And then on top of that, family and marriage and all that stuff is not propagated. It's not campaigned for. It's the opposite. You don't need to get married. You don't want to get married. That's the worst thing you can do. There's other things that you could be involved with. And in the midst of that, you decide to jump on that bandwagon, but you are human. You have needs. And what happens? It leads you to do stuff. But I don't want to get married. But I'm willing to do this. But I ain't trying to get married. SubhanAllah. Yes, they are pushing the agenda on the youth hard. They're not, it's like no innocence. They're trying to take all their innocence away. They're so exposed to so much stuff. It's not even funny. I know when I was a child, there was just certain things that you just didn't have any understanding of. You didn't know that it exists at your age. Now everything is at their disposal. What you looking for, Habibi?
Nothing. I'm multitasking.
Oh, you know what? People are compromising themselves. Yes. And so it leads to what we are discussing right now. You got people that should not be together, like the case of that ex-NFL player and this woman. She was married. So that means she was stepping out on her husband. I don't know what their situation is, but if it got to go that far, y'all need to get a divorce. Why stay in a situation and do that? Get out of it. Like, it just makes sense. Right? But no, you want to be married and be messing with another dude. And the type of woman that would do that, like, we're living in some strange times because women, the way we are wired, should be wired, is that we can't multitask when it comes to that. Once your heart is attached to one, that's it. I can't move past that. And then when that's not no longer a thing or whatever, you move on, right? But she kept this dude around for whatever reason. And I'm thinking maybe she was just around so he could take care of her. But yeah, she's stepping out on him. There's nothing to justify what she did. And so here it is. This is what you get. You cause someone to die That's on her slate, on her scale. She has to answer for that. And she shows no remorse. That's a dangerous person. That's a dangerous person. Like, no care in the world that somebody's child is dead because of your nonsense. SubhanAllah. The birds and beasts have went to dogs and cats. It's TV mom now. You know, it's just wow. You know, so like I said, this show, The Reflections of a Black Mother, we have a responsibility. And we have so many examples of what a mother looks like. You know, in our Islamic tradition, there's so many examples that we can take from. Because this is our legacy. This is our tradition. But we're manufactured what a mother looks like now. And it don't look nothing like it used to look back in the day. Tado said, because most people don't know who their father is or who their half siblings are, it opens up the possibility of them sleeping with each other and not even knowing who they are related. That's crazy. SubhanAllah, that's another level. That's another, that goes back to slavery time. Because remember, families were split, forcibly split. You had mom on one, you had daddy on another, you had the children on another, right? Sent somewhere else, and they never seen each other again. That's terrible. And we're told to forget all of that.
On top of the fact that they had these so-called breeding grounds.
Right. Hell, they had a, what they call him? A stud, what they call a stud or something, right? And he would go around and impregnate the women so they could have more workers, right? That's crazy. That's crazy. And they want us to forget that stuff. They want us to forget that right now. There's so much happening. You have.
That's why they want it. That's why they want us to forget that they did these things to us, so that we can start doing it to ourselves and thinking it's normal.
SubhanAllah. And it's
that's the pharaonic minhaj, the methodology. Mm-hmm. They do it to you first. It becomes normal. Then they switch it. They say, you take control. You oppress yourself. You do it to yourself. I'm tired of doing it to you. Too much resources, me doing it to you. You do it to yourself.
Exactly. And we do that. SubhanAllah. we do that. It's crazy. We actually have the solution to the problem, but yet we fall short ourselves with the actualization of it. What they did to us, we now do to ourselves and each other. Yes. And we got to stop and recognize that. We got to stop and pay attention. How am I contributing to society? Am I part of the pharaonic system? Or am I the field Negroes, like our brother Malcolm Rahimahullah says? Are you the field Negro? Or are you the house Negro? What part are you playing in this situation? Are you helping the oppressor to continue the oppression without having to be there? Or are you the one that fights back? Now, that's another thing that it kind of like came, not that I just found out, like with the Black Panther. The Black Panthers, for the most part, besides all the division and stuff, they had programs that were helping their community. Like the breakfast program. They was doing things for the community, making sure that the children had something to eat before they go to school. Because a lot of kids came from homes, they ain't have food in the house.
I need to interject with that, because that's also another pattern tool that the modern day Pharaoh does. Mm-hmm. They neglect and deprive people of stuff. And then when groups like the Black Panthers come in and they do free lunch and free breakfast, right? Mm-hmm. They come, knock them out, right? Mm-hmm. And then they replace with a government form of that. Just the same thing with lottery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black people had the numbers, right? Then they arrest all the black people, all the people who do numbers, and then they introduce what they call lottery, government form of what black people start. I mean, everything legal and illegal, right? Whenever black people have to get it out the mud, because that's the only way we're going to survive by doing it, we do it, build it up. They make a law against it to make it a crime, right? Arrest everybody and destroy it, and then create a government form of it and do it themselves.
SubhanAllah. Hey, that's crazy if you think about it.
The numbers, lottery, free lunch, free breakfast. That's how I got into school. There wasn't no free lunch, free breakfast, and half price lunch and half price breakfast in school. No, the Black Panthers started that and did it. And you go on and on. Somebody mentioned WIC.
Yep. SubhanAllah. That's crazy.
We're seeing it happen before our very eyes with weed.
Yep. Right. Yep. SubhanAllah. Right.
Can you imagine somebody sitting in prison right now for selling weed? There's people becoming millionaires for selling the same thing that you sitting in jail for.
Got smoke shops and everything. Got candy, gummy bears, all types of snacks laced with that stuff, making a killing off of something that was illegal that people are serving time for.
And not only served time, past tense, no, in jail right now for it. In the states that have now legalized it, there's still people in those states in jail, in prison for it. That's crazy.
That is crazy. And you know what else is crazy?
That's why Allah's law is the best and only law we should really be sincere about, because that stuff makes no sense. You try you go crazy trying to find the moral high ground following their laws. Their laws are not moral at all whatsoever. Slavery was a law. Trying to be free from slavery was a crime.
Yep. Trying to read, having education was a crime. Yep. SubhanAllah.
And now we hate to read and hate to be educated. We do it to ourselves.
And look at what they're having us to read and be educated about. Look at it. Look, we ain't got no control over that. I wanted to mention also, we're talking about the black mother, right? The welfare system, right? Remember how they had it?
The what system? Say it again.
Welfare, that's how I say it. The welfare system. I said it like that. Right? You had generations on that. Grandma, great grandma, mama, everybody, right? Had a house full of people, right? On that, getting their food stamps, getting their cheese, their government, right? Government cheese, right? All this stuff, right? And how did they incentivize that? They said the man couldn't be in the house. Remember the movie Claudine? She had all them kids, right? And every time the welfare person came around, that lady used to come around, they used to hide the iron. They used to have little stuff around the house, and they would hide it when the lady come, because she was counting, like, wait a minute, what you doing with that? You can't afford that. Like, they come in your house counting everything, what it costs. Like, you're not supposed to have that in there, right? And that's how they do, until she met this garbage man worker, right? Jones, I forgot his name. And so he came around trying to be a dad, right? And so he wanted to lift her up, right? Because he know that that's not the type of life she lived. And he didn't care she had all those kids. He was willing to step in. There's some brothers that, have it in them. And I commend them to come in and step in to take care of some kids. But there's some brothers that don't want to do that. And I don't fault them for that.
You know what's so deep about this stuff, right?
James Earl Jones, yep.
The government incentivizes the destruction of our families. They do it now. It didn't stop they're not physically coming in the house counting stuff like they used to, make sure no man lived there. But they're still doing the same thing. They incentivize, there's an incentive for a woman to conceive a child out of wedlock or even in wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
She's incentivized to have that child and then separate from the man.
Yep.
Child support and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
She's incentivized.
Yep.
And then the deep thing about it is, us Muslims, we're born into this system, right? And we forget about that, Islam is a complete system. It's not only about prayer and fasting and Hajj, right? Islam does have laws about marriage, divorce, and child custody, right?
Right.
If and when our families do separate, the parents of the child no longer married, Islam tells you who's supposed to get the children.
Yep.
But most Muslims don't even know about that, much less practice it. If they don't know about it, they're not going to practice it.
Nope.
And then some of them, if you tell them about it, they might, man, listen, no, I don't care. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up my children. Government side get a check for these children. You talking about I can't have custody no more? No. Ain't you Muslim? So what? I ain't following that law.
SubhanAllah. So listen, as you was just speaking now, like you said, Islam covers all of this, have the answer to this. What about zakat? One of the pillars that's been destroyed. That's supposed to help our people.
Yeah. A lot of times, just going back to that, right? People be arguing, oh, he a deadbeat dad. I'm talking about in the Muslim community now, because remember, we got our own laws, right? Right? Oh, yeah, he ain't taking care of his children. He ain't sent me no money in a long time. Sis, have you gotten remarried since you divorced that brother? Yeah. Well, you're not even supposed to have a child. You're not even supposed to be your problem, right? Based on your situation, because there's an order of who's supposed to get the children if the woman remarries, right? It don't go directly to the father. It's some other people, right? But in our situation, 9 times out of 10, it's going to go right to the father. A lot of us don't have no other Muslims in our family and stuff like that, right? So 9 times out of 10, when you go down the line of who's supposed to be raising that child, if the mother remarries, 9 times out of 10 is going to go to that father. And then when you bring this to the sister's attention, you get Scooby-Doo. Well, he's not responsible. He's a bad person. She'll just start making up some stuff. He's not a good person. No, no, right? He's supposed to have custody. You worry about him not giving you money for the child. You're not even supposed to be having the child in order to be receiving money. He is. Well, I don't know, man. See, that's why I don't like dealing with none of these imams. They be just going for the brothers.
Rakaya says, what about the men who don't want their children? He leaves a woman no choice but to put him on child support.
We're not talking about that. I mean, that's obvious. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So basically, let me just break it down again. You're married to your spouse. You have kids. It don't work out, right? The children that you have stays with the mom, right? For now. Mom finds another husband, right? She gets another husband. Now the question is, where do the children go? Because a lot of times the women be worrying about whether the man that's coming in going to be able to deal with the children, right? I need somebody that's going to accept my kids, right? But Islam has built in it that Once you get married, that's not an issue because their father is responsible for them. Right? I'm not just talking about somebody just in the old kind of situation. He homeless, he on the street, all that stuff. No, of course you're not going to give your kids to somebody like that. But just say he got his stuff together, he worked, he may have another wife, right? He doesn't got another family. They go to him. Now, somebody might say, well, when do I get to see the kids? It's a thing called co-parenting. It don't mean like you gave your kids and you don't see them again ever in life because you done moved on with a new husband. No, it's not like that. Right? It's called maturity because a lot of people are not mature enough to do that without any problems. But that portion of the situation, is solved. Some of us know this and don't want to go down that route because we get incentivized by the children staying in our care. I still get the child support. I still get the alimony. I still get, the child care, whatever it is, food stamp, whatever, right? Because they're in your care. Some women just care about the money, not the kids. The kids are a cash cow. The kids are just there just so that they can get paid. Just like there are people that take in children as foster parents, right? And even adoptees. They get money from the government for having them kids in their care. How many stories have you heard about kids being mistreated inside the home, but they're there for long periods of time because that person is getting paid? They don't care about the kids. As long as they're in their care, they get the checks. The checks keep rolling in, right? So you have to ask yourself, am I keeping the kids because I'm trying to still get paid? Be honest. Or if I'm, I'm really, being using scrupulousness when it comes to like, okay, being with their father. I know his situation. He's not in a good situation. Some people just not in a good situation. They're just not. You're not going to give your kids to them, right? That's all we're saying. Islam covers that. So your new husband don't have to deal with your children. That's how it's supposed to be.
You just reminded me of that court case we was watching where the judge actually was going in on the woman because she was living off of the child support. And the judge was like, ma'am, you're not supposed to be living off of the child support. You're supposed to be taking care of yourself. You're responsible for your own upkeep, right? You're budgeting and making your life based upon the child support that you're getting on behalf of your child. That's not the intent of child support, ma'am. I believe it was a female judge telling her that too. I forgot.
He's like, ma'am. True. True. SubhanAllah. Rahim said that's why it's so important on who you marry and have kids with, and why divorce is not easy to come by if we practice right. That is so important.
You need to put that up there. Put that up there because I want to comment.
This is
when it comes to marriage, you're supposed to do all the heavy work, all the heavy lifting on the front end. You know what I mean by that?
Right. Cross your eyes. Yeah, crossing your eyes and dotting your eyes and crossing the T's.
Yeah, do all the research, check it into the family, like all the istiqaras, all that. You're supposed to do all that in the beginning.
Right.
Because Islamically, for real, once you get in, it's supposed to be hard for you to get out. So you're supposed to want to make sure that this is something that you really ready to do.
Right.
That's how it's supposed to work. But we don't do that. But we don't do that. We miscontextualize a hadith and then jump into a situation with our eyes closed. This is what we do. It's almost like when people advise you, like if you work for a company, right? And the people that's in charge, if they get training, they tell these people, be slow to hire and quick to fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to make sure that the person's a real good fit for your company. You want to, do the interviews and, the background checks and all of that, and you know, do all you have to do ahead of time before you hire the person.
Right.
And then when you hire, the person, because it's going to, because once you hire them, you still got to train them and all that. So this person is not going to be profitable until they actually fit in and start producing, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then they say that when you realize that you have to fire someone and you know that you have to let them go, do it quick. Don't drag it out, because this person that you already know you have to fire, he or she may be destroying the morale of your company. Like they could be stealing, whatever the situation is, whatever reason you firing them for, right? You don't want it to drag on. You want to get rid of them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
But see, in Islam, right, firing being like divorce, firing ain't that easy. To do it according to the sunnah anyway. And most of us don't do that because most of us don't know, right? Most of us, once again, we get our fiqh from hadith. And hadith is not meant for common people to extract fiqh from. The scholars have already done that. That's what a madhab is for. The hadith are proofs for the fiqh position, right? But most of us don't
Right.
know that. We against madhab. We have Quran and Sunnah, right? Right. This is what we are, right? Lied to. But in any case, we don't know that, right? So even for a man, it's hard to get divorced. So all he got to do is say, "I divorce you," right? It ain't that easy. He can't say it when a woman's on her menses. If he does, it counts, but he's sinful for doing it. So he got a sin on his record for doing it at the wrong time. Even if she's clean, she's not on her menses. It can't be said in a clean period wherein intercourse took place.
Mm-hmm.
So she's clean from her menses, and then y'all had relations. Then sometime before the next menses come on, you decided you want to divorce her. No. You can't divorce her. You got to wait till she get her menses again, and then it's clean again, and then pronounce a divorce. Most brothers don't know that. They think, well, she ain't on her menses, I can just pronounce it. That's what I just described is called talaqul bid'ah. She has to be clean, and not only does she have to be clean, it has to be a clean period wherein no intercourse took place. Most brothers don't know that. And some brothers that do know that, they do it anyway because they're not really men. They're emotional, and their buttons are pushed. So they lost their intellect, and they pronounced it anyway. They don't have enough self-control, knowing that that's talaqul bid'ah, to wait till she have her menses again and wait till she's clean again to divorce her. They just divorced her in a fit of rage. And that's from the brother side. And then sometimes brothers don't even know that. They think, well, I got to recite it all at one time. I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. No, you messed up there too, bro. You only need to do it one time. It's not going to make it come any faster. Right? So you did another bid'ah by doing it all in one sitting. Right? And so now you made it irrevocable. Right? So there ain't no reconciliation. Brother, all you had to do was in that clean period wherein there no intercourse took place. All you had to do was say it in a clear language that is not ambiguous, that I divorce you. Then wait till she had 3 menses, then the marriage would have been over. Right? Most of us can't do that because when we said I divorce you, we didn't really mean it. We were mad. That's why, once again, we say it when she's on the menses, or we say it when we had intercourse with her, right? In the clean period that we had intercourse with her. And so we want to take her back, right? So most of us have, in our Muslim marriages, we have what I call hood love. You know, that kind of love where, you burn all your clothes, you flatten all the tires, you bust out the windshield, you do all that violent stuff, and then get back together the same day. That's the kind of love a lot of Muslims haven't abandoned in the Jahiliyyah. They bring into Islam, but now they gotta make all this stuff Islamic. So this stuff, this stuff happens over and over again. Yo, what's that scar on your face? Now my wife be tripping, man. Right, right. What happened? Oh, my wife, she tried to stab me though, but I ducked it. Right. She nicked me a little bit. Right. You sure you want to be in there? Yeah. You know, I divorced her, but no, I love her. I took her back. Wait a minute. Didn't this happen like 5 times before? No, it's good because I was mad when I said the divorce. And the other imam told me that if I was mad, the divorce don't count.
Ooh.
That's us. And that's, if you understood what we just said, that's the brother pronouncing divorce.
Right.
It's even harder for the sister. Because she can say, I don't want to be in this marriage no more. Brother, divorce me. He still got to say talaq, right? But a lot of cats is like, to me, that's strange. You know a woman don't want you, but you still with a woman that don't want you, so you ain't gonna let her go. That's real weird to me. I'm
that's
just
evil.
honest. No, that's weird. This woman hates your guts, but I ain't gonna let her go.
That's that ego. That's that power struggle.
I don't know what that is. That's real weird.
It is weird, but that's what y'all do.
Ain't no y'all. But right, but she got to get a kula, right? So one way of doing a kula, meaning she has to pay her way out of the marriage. She has to pay her way out of the marriage. She has to give something back that he agrees to. And that could even be more than the dowry that he gave her. And that's another level, because a lot of dudes don't be paid a dowry. That's another so-called bootleg way of being boyfriend, girlfriend in Islam.
Yeah.
Like, the brother don't ever give the dowry. Then when it's time for them to break up, right? And I notice I said break up, right? When it's time for them to break up, right? So, well, I want out. Well, you gotta get a kula. Well, what's a kula? She don't even know what it is, right? What's a kula? Well, you gotta pay your way out to marriage. What I gotta pay you? The dowry. You ain't never paid me the dowry. Well, I guess we even. I give you the kula. You can't make this stuff up. This stuff happening every day all over the country, right? For many reasons, right? So she got to get the husband that don't agree to ending the marriage. They give her a kula. If he agreed, he would have just pronounced talaq. So, right, that's gonna be a hard one, right? Then you got to go. Okay, he don't agree. Let me go to the Islamic authority, the imam or the amir, whoever the leader is, to get him to get involved, and maybe he can grant me the kula in lieu of my husband. But wait a minute, we don't respect no imams and no masjid, no authority, so they don't want to go to. We're in bad shape. This is bad, right? The same was like, I ain't no follow no imam. What masjid you go to? I go to no masjid. I go to all masjids. Well, what masjid is home base? No, I ain't got no home base. I go whatever masjid when and how many times I want. Right? Tell me what to do, right? Then you in this situation right now, and then you ain't got no one to go to. So then you got to go to somebody that don't know you or know your situation. Imam. I'm trying to get a kula. Depending on what type of imam you dealing with, imam like, you better go back to the people that married you. That'd be me right there, right? Probably go where you came from. Which means I ain't got to deal with none of that nonsense. Because the people who here don't want me to deal with their stuff, and the people that come that's from someplace else, I'm not dealing with their stuff because they're not from here.
SubhanAllah. Can I interject?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Alhamdulillah. All this can be avoided if we do our due diligence. I'm talking to my sisters. when you looking to get married, you have to vet out these men. You have to vet them. And not only that, you have to take in consideration your situation. If you have kids already, you know, all types of stuff. Like, don't let nothing go past you. If something don't feel right, most likely it ain't right. Like, don't let it go. Just say, you know what? That wasn't nothing. That might be something, right? The marriage is in your hands. You don't have to marry everybody that come across you because he says a little sweet little things and make you feel a little certain way and it's been a while or whatever. Don't fall for the okie doke. Because this, you got to look at it like a life sentence. When you get married, you need to look at that as a longevity type of situation. Nothing short term. This is not a sprint. Look at your marriage as a marathon, right? Slow and steady, meaning you're going to be going through this with this person. Whatever is going to come around. You're going to be sharing, the same space or however you're going to, work things out. It's just so many things to consider. So don't rush into this stuff. Look at all those things because Allah has put protections in place for you. So there's no reason to be in some crazy situation. None whatsoever. There's no reason for that. But when you rush or if you feel like desperate, like, you feel like I'm getting older and I don't think I'm be able to get married, there's somebody for everybody. Don't just get into it just to have a man around. No, don't do that to yourself. Don't let this person make decision for you. Exactly, because you be feeling like a certain way and people can see desperate people. Those people that take advantage of people can see the desperation in you and they will take advantage of that. You are vulnerable. You have to come into a situation as though, you might be, I won't say desperate, just say, I really want to get married. But don't come into the situation with that sign on your head, right? Thirsty, right? The sign thirsty. Because people that is, that is of, they're going to take advantage of you and they're going to kick you to the curb like nothing once they get what they want. You're the prize. That's how you got to come. You're the prize. You're the catch.
Whoa. So that's your problem right now. Y'all not the catch. We the catch.
No, we the catch.
No, we the catch.
No, we the catch. Well, we both the catch. So we got to catch you. We both got our nets out, right? But, and there's another thing. Sister Nora, I saw her. She had a post up. And it was so eloquent. And it basically said, when a man knows what he wants. The sisters, you don't have to do something crazy to get a brother's attention. They know what they want. And they are not going to hesitate in coming after you if he wants you. We have been conditioned that we got to do all this backflips and all types of crazy stuff to look, see me, I'm right here. Look, let me do it. Like, that's how we look. Like, here, pick me. Right here. I'm here. I'm single. Yes, I've been single. Yes, I'm single. Right. That's how we look. You ain't got to do all that. You put in the air, I'm single, and that's it, right? You somehow let it be known that you're a single woman. They are going to come if they want you. You just got to be you. You just sit back and do you. You ain't got to do nothing else extra. Alhamdulillah. Okay? And men are attracted to that. A man is very attracted to that. But if you come
I just want to say something to what you said. I want to co-sign and verify what you said.
Oh, now you got something. You're a mess. I just saw your mess.
I know of situations, for example, that make it a little bit more real.
Okay.
I know of situations where brothers, and I say brothers, I'm talking about more than one situation, where brothers said, "No, I'm interested. I think I like that sister. The sister be single, right? And then maybe, I don't know, maybe she thinks she's not attracted to nobody. And then she changed her picture and she took off her garments and showing some stuff. I've seen brothers like, oh, never mind. I'm cool.
Wow. And there probably somebody she wanted and she lost out because she didn't did that. Woo. Y'all heard that? Y'all don't have to come out your guard. You don't have to do all that extra stuff. Like, you're only going to get a certain type of dudes. You're going to get the low of the low of the bunch. Those type of dudes. And I'm talking about Muslims. You're going to get those. You got those amongst us. You got brothers that'll hit and go. They'll give you, I don't want to say something, obvious, but they get what they want and they will leave you. After they get what they want, probably that same night, I divorce you. Something crazy they ain't supposed to do. Or they ghost you, right? That happens. And say he followed the protocol. You ain't heard from him and, he calls you and says, your meds on? And you like, yeah. He's like, all right, tell me when it goes off, right? You ain't seen him, right? And you wonder where he at. He called you, right? And you call, he's like, please make sure, yes, it's off. All right, I divorce you. Right? He did it right? He didn't, he waited. But you got a lot of that going on. So don't do that. When you present yourself a certain way, you're only going to attract those type of people. What you give off is what you're going to catch. So catch confidence. Catch up, be confident, be upright, right? And it's nothing being, it's not being conceited or anything like that, right? You trusting in the law that he got you. And you just chill. And the person that you didn't even think of may be interested and be knocking at your door or, contacting you and saying, hey, I need your Wally number. You never know who's watching. Brothers are watching. And when you start acting like real loose and, beside yourself and, not refined and stuff, that's a turnoff to a lot of them. So that's why you're not getting the attention. But if you notice, well, let me tighten my garment or take something off or show my little baby hair or something like that. You start doing that and you notice that you're getting attention. No, that's the wrong attention. That's not what you want. That's not what you want. So you don't have to go down that route. And sisters, one more thing before we go off the phone, get off the line. SubhanAllah, it just slipped my mind. Oh, say that you hook up with the person that you want. Don't be talking to 10 other brothers at the same time. People talk. Brothers talk. They like, I'm talking to such and such. And that brother be like, I'm talking to such and such. Wait a minute. What's her name? Such and such. Nah, that sound like the. Wait, let me see her picture. Send me a screenshot. That turns brothers off. When they find out that you are talking to them and 10 other brothers, that don't make you look good, sister.
What she said.
That's a no-no. Because in his eyes, you're acting like that garden tool. That's how they look at it. That's how they look. Men are very possessive, right? They're very territorial, right? In a good manner. I'm not talking about the crazy ones. And when they see that they're not the only one that has access to you, it just turns them off. It's like, I don't want that. If she's doing that with other people, no, tell her what she can do to me. Now, the trusting went out the window. Yep, acting like a 304. What you know about that, Abdullah? Yes. Don't do that. So I just want to do those, give those pointers to my sisters, to the Black woman, because we already looked at it in a negative light. Like I have on my page, and I said there's a end where a young lady is talking about Black women going outside their houses with these hair bonnets, pajamas, slippers, going out in the public looking like that, looking crazy, going to the airport, going to their children's school looking like that, like they just roll out of bed. Now, you know, if you roll out of bed like that, that means you didn't take care of certain things. And you looking like that going outside, right? We got to stop doing that and have more pride in ourselves. We need to care. We live in the cultures like, don't care, you do whatever. Can't nobody tell you what to do. You just do you. No, I can't stand that. It is so disturbing. And it don't matter that other races do it. It don't matter. Because we ain't the only ones. I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about you. You're supposed to be my sister. We're supposed to be a reflection of one another. We're supposed to, give praise and uplift and, and give, good advice and try to big up one another so we can feel good and all that good stuff. But you coming outside looking like any old kind of thing and slippers and, that don't look good. What is going on? We don't have any pride in ourselves anymore. You should come outside like you care. Not because somebody said that you look, but because you care, We done lost our minds. We don't even care about anything. We worry about what somebody else think about us. That's another thing. Care about you. Have some dignity about yourself. And people will treat you with dignity. If they see that you don't care, they're going to treat you the same as well. Those hair bonnets is so ugly. Even in the house, I don't like them, but it's in the house. If you got it on the house, I can't say nothing. You're in the house, right? But in public, la ilaha illallah. Let's stop doing that to ourselves. SubhanAllah. Anyway, we want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Alhamdulillah, this was a very beautiful back and forth conversation. I hope that you learned something. I hope that it benefits, and anything we said wrong, may Allah forgive us, and please forgive us if we said anything wrong. And so, excuse me, but we just want to, help bring awareness to our responsibilities and, and our roles. Our roles are so important. And if we don't check ourselves, who will? Somebody else is going to check us, for real, for real. But we don't want that kind of check-in. We don't want somebody else to check us, because it's not going to be for our benefit. The way they're going to check us is check us out, make us like we never exist. And we don't want to be like that. We have children, we got grandchildren that we have to live for and guide. We got so much on our plate. So we might as well just get it together. If you can't do it by yourself, ask somebody to help you, right? This is what it's all about. We're family here. So please keep us on your du'as. It's Juma and Juma Mubarak, and send abundant prayers upon our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Please read Surah Al-Kahf, right? Make dua for the believers. Make dua for all the Muslims and all the people in the world, because right now, I don't know if you notice, like the signs of the times is like, signs of the last day is just permanent and prominent. You got all this smoke, all these fires going on, right? So that means a lot of people are going to be suffering with their health issues and stuff. Ask Allah for assistance, and give us ease, and to heal those that are going through stuff, and those that return back to Allah. May Allah forgive them and grant them, the highest station in Jannah. May Allah allow us to die on La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. May He allow us to die as Muslims. And may we, do the work, at least plant the seeds for our future generations to, nurture, because they are our future. And the only way they're going to have a future if we plant something now, start something now, build a foundation for them, so that they can keep on the legacy of this beautiful deen of Islam. You got anything else that you want to say before we close out? No? We definitely needed so much help to us in our lives, right? So with that being said, Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wal asra innal insana lafi khusra illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.